Welcome to me, Ka'amcha Yisrael. Toward the conclusion of Parashat Tavo, Moshe Rabbeinu makes a remarkable statement. V'lo natan Hashem lachem lev leda'at ve'einayim dirot ve'oznayim lishmoa v'hayom hazeh. Borei Olam didn't give you a heart to understand or eyes to see or ears to hear until this very day. So what exactly happened on that day? Klal Yisrael had already witnessed 40 years of extraordinary miracles, the Makot, the Yam Suf, the Man, the Ananei HaKavod. What could they possibly understand now that they hadn't already understood before? The Shemen HaTov offers a beautiful explanation. If there was one lesson Klal Yisrael struggled to internalize in the Midbar, it was placing complete trust in Borei Olam. Less than a week after witnessing the destruction of Mitzrayim, they stood before the Yam Suf and wondered whether they would survive. Then they worried about water, then food. Again and again, despite everything they had witnessed, the next challenge awakened the next doubt, culminating, of course, in the tragedy of the Meragalim, who questioned whether Borei Olam could actually deliver Eretz Yisrael into their hands. That failure of faith condemned an entire generation to remain in the wilderness. But 40 years later, something changed. Moshe Rabbeinu led Klal Yisrael to victory over Sichon and Og, and afterwards, the Shivatim of Ruvain and Gad, with half of Menashe, asked Moshe for their inheritance on the eastern side of the Yarden. For 40 years, this was a nation that questioned what tomorrow would bring. Someone should have protested and said, wait a second, whoa. We haven't even conquered Eretz Yisrael. 31 kings and 7 nations still stand before us. First, let us cross the Yarden and win the battles, then we'll discuss giving away the territory on this side. Yet not one person objected. For the first time, there was no hesitation, no contingency plan. Klal Yisrael simply understood that if Borei Olam had promised them the land, they were going in. And Moshe Rabbeinu recognized what had just happened. After 40 years, they finally got it. That explains the Shemen HaTov is the meaning of Ad Hayom Hazeh until this very day. Today, you finally possess the heart to understand, the ears to hear, perhaps for the first time the eyes to truly see. The Gemara in Avodah Zarah delivers an extraordinary principle from this pasuk. A student may not fully comprehend the depth of his Rebbe's teaching until 40 years have passed. There are truths which we can hear in a moment, but require years of living before we truly understand them. Sometimes the lesson was always there. We simply weren't able to see it. Reb Asher Druk tells an extraordinary story about a distinguished man from Rehovot in Yerushalayim. One morning, the man awakened and Bar Minan opened his eyes and half of his world was black. He could see normally from one eye, but over the other it appeared as though someone had placed a black patch. He washed Netilat Yadayim, he rinsed with cold water, washed his eyes, and nothing changed. Now frightened, he made an appointment with a leading ophthalmologist. The diagnosis, Bar Minan, was devastating. It was a rare, insufficiently researched bacterium had entered his eye and caused it to deteriorate severely, and by the time it was discovered, the eye was already in terrible condition. He sought a second opinion, and even a third. Every doctor reached the same conclusion. There was little hope of saving the eye. Desperate, he contacted a medical advocate who located a specialist in Boston. The fee was substantial. When eyesight is at stake, money becomes secondary. After an exhaustive examination, the doctor sat him down and delivered the news. The affected eye would never see again. And the bacterium, lo aleinu, could spread to the other eye. So his recommendation was to remove the diseased eye quickly, or the man could soon become completely blind, God forbid. The young man was shattered. He had traveled thousands of miles and reached one of the foremost specialists available, and instead of hearing a cure, he was told to remove his eye to save the other one. With tears, he told the doctor he needs a day or two, and he walked out brokenhearted. A few blocks away, he noticed a shul. It was empty, but the door was unlocked. He walked inside, he approached the Aron Kodesh, and he began to sob. But remarkably, he didn't begin by asking Borei Olam to save his eye. He began by saying, "Thank you. Ribono shel olam," he cried. "I'm ashamed. For approximately 50 years, you gave me the magnificent gift of eyesight. Every morning, I made a beracha thanking you for giving me sight to the blind. But how many times did I actually thank you for allowing me to see?" And then he began remembering the years his eyes had worked perfectly, the faces he had been privileged to see, his ability to walk into a room, to read, to recognize another human being. And for 3 hours, this man stood in that shul and thanked Borei Olam not only for his eyesight, but for every limb, every function, every kindness that had accompanied him throughout his life, so quietly that he had almost stopped noticing it. He cried and cried and thanked and cried, and by the time the end, he was sitting on his shoulders what seemed to lift off. Only then did he make a request. Ribono shel olam, please, I beg you, allow me to correct what I need to correct. Please save my eye so that I can thank you for my vision forever. He left the shul and he felt somewhat lighter. It was already late in the afternoon, and almost instinctively his feet carried him right back towards the doctor's office. Visiting hours were over. Nevertheless, he pleaded with the specialist, please, I beg you, examine me just once more. Perhaps because he saw the man's tear-swollen eyes, the doctor agreed and connected him once more to the equipment. Then something strange happened. His expression changed. He looked again, then again. His mouth fell open. This is absolutely incredible, he said. I cannot believe what I'm seeing. Other doctors came rushing in to see for themselves. The eye that had effectively been considered medically dead was showing some signs of life. Surgery was performed the very next day, and the man's vision was restored. He returned to Eretz Yisrael carrying a description bestowed by the doctor himself in Boston: you are a walking miracle. The Shabbat after, he sponsored a kiddush in a Su'udat Hoda, and he publicly told the entire story. Approximately 2 months later, his telephone rang. A stranger was calling. You don't know me, the man said, but I was in shul when you made your Su'udat Hoda'ah. I heard your story, and I decided my family would try something similar. I have 2 wonderful daughters, 28 and 32, still waiting to find their shidduchim. We've tried everything, so I asked my daughters to sit down and write every single thing in their lives for which they could express hakarat hatov, gratitude. I did the same. Then our entire family sat together, and instead of concentrating on what we were still waiting for, we thanked Borei Olam for everything he had already given us. Then the father told him why he was calling. 3 weeks ago, we celebrated the Vart of our oldest daughter, and last night, we celebrated the Vart of our second daughter. 2 daughters, 2 Yeshuot, 1 family that had learned the same lesson. Ladies and gentlemen, there is a profound lesson here. So many of the greatest gifts in our lives become invisible simply because we have them every day. Our health, our families, our children, the ability to walk or speak or hear, and simply to open our eyes in the morning and see. The man in our story thought his miracle had happened when his eyesight returned. But really, the first miracle happened hours earlier before the Aron Kodesh, when after 50 years of seeing, he finally understood what an extraordinary gift that sight actually was. And perhaps that's precisely what Moshe Rabbeinu was telling Klal Yisrael. You had eyes for 40 years. Today, you finally learned how to see. May we, along with all of Am Yisrael, never wait until something is threatened to appreciate what we already have. Look around your Shabbat table, at the people you love, at your children, at the blessings that have become so familiar that you barely notice them, because somewhere in the world, certainly, someone is praying with tears in their eyes for something that you woke up with this morning. Shabbat Shalom and Mivorach.